It's Fox time, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to another wonderful stream where I don't mess up anything at all. And where text-to-speech will say everything correctly. Totally. Absolutely totally will. It'll be perfect, I swear. Hello Morden. Look in my dreams, wait. Popcorn PNG. None of that is so. Rookie mistake. Hello to you too, free. My god, okay, so I don't have like a script or anything. Or anything to like read off of to talk about certain points or something. This is entirely unscripted. I don't have anything written, I just know things I want to talk about. Two of those things being the Rocky series, which I had just finished watching, and the recent Spider-Man movie. I want to talk about Rocky first, because it's a lot more fresh in my mind. And we will talk about the Spider-Man one just afterwards. I don't know how long we're going to go today, because like I said, I did not go in this with a plan. You watched the first Rocky movie a couple of hours ago. It's really good. It's a really good movie. And also gives you a glimpse of how they made movies back then. Because okay, I'm from 2098, right? You guys are in. What year is it for you again? 2023. Did I get that right? Please tell me I got that right. You recently started reading Spider-Man 2099. Yo, I would love to be in 2099, but does 2098? I said it's 2099. God damn it, whatever. I got it right, okay, that's what matters. And what also matters is that text-to-speech gets things right, don't you think? Also, yes, BB is here. She refuses to leave. I couldn't tell you why. It's actually 2006, where is my Tamagotchi? I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so I wanted to do something just to have in the background so that way it's not just, you know, just me sitting here and talking to you guys. And I will give a cookie to anyone who can accurately guess what will be in the background. I'm getting it set up now, but I want to see who can get it. Yeah, it's FGL. I said FGO. You got it right, that was very fast. I should do the Rocky stairs though. At some point. I thought about showing clips from the movies and such. But I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to do that. "99% sure that I'm not actually allowed to do that." Yeah, that's exactly why. I would very much love to show clips from specific parts of like Rocky. Because you know some things you just have to see, you know. But you know things don't always work like that. Give me a moment while I try to figure out what I want to do in the FGO. It's Berserker Dead. It is Berserker Deck. I don't know why it's getting those two words I'm saying day. That is the wrong thing, there we go. He is not public IP until 20 years for you guys. Right, yeah, and that's the issue. Okay, I'm going to shut off the music. I will switch to the video game. And then we can start talking movies. Wait, what's going on? It's not public it. It's not public IP. Until 50 more years. Okay, it's currently 2023 for you guys, so it'll have to be 2073. That's when it becomes public domain. Why is this thing freaking out now? Okay, should be running fine. All right. And it's freaking out again. And why is it doing that? It's never done that before. I mean, kind of did that before, but okay, what is happening here? I'm just going to have the music on, so it's as long as Sylvester Stallone lives plus. Okay. You keep telling me things here. Let me do something really quick. I'm going to restart the app. And hope that it will fix itself. Give me a remind me what class is strong against casters. It's writer right. I'm just going to do some experience farming because I don't know what else to do. Yeah, it is a writer, okay. Okay. Is that done? We can finally start talking about movies. Finally got to do the thing you guys were probably waiting for. So. The first thing I want to talk about. And before I actually begin. There are going to be spoilers for everything I'm talking about here. I am not going to beat around the bush here. And there will be spoilers. So if you guys want to see any of the movies that we end up talking about, which who knows which ones they will be, not going to want to watch the stream. You don't care at all, okay, well. At least I have your approval. Except if I mentioned Final Fantasy 16. I don't have that, I don't even have a PlayStation 5. I think they're on the PlayStation 17 now. I don't know, I mainly just have older games. Because it's cheaper. Alright, so the first Rocky movie. I think, well, actually, before I go into the first movie, I should actually say, Rocky is basically just, what's the best way to put it? It's like Rocky himself is human determination personified. I think that's the best way to describe him. He is just so determined to win. He's so determined in what he does that it's just incredibly powerful to watch. Like, okay, Mordred, you watched Rocky, and after you watched it, didn't motivate you? Didn't it, like, make you want to do something? It's very important that I ask this because that's exactly how I felt when I watched Rocky. Rocky's the movie that shows how far a man can go when he has motivation, exactly. Also, hello Paul. Or was it wrong? I don't remember which one it is. It made you want to shock him, break the world in half. I said shocking, okay, here's a little future lesson for you guys. The F word. And the S words aren't really used all that much anymore. I sometimes say them, but that's because of my mom. So you know, instead of the F word, we say shock. And instead of the S word, we say rust. There's some future lingo for you guys. What was I saying, right? Rocky is what you get when you have a guy with just so much motivation. Just like you woke up after 2 hours of sleep. Oh, please sleep some more. I don't want you to sleep deprived. Anyway, so it Rocky is a topic you want to be in, that's fine, but please. So continuing with Rocky 1. What I was saying before is that is absolutely a movie. That really gave me a glimpse of what movies used to be like. For like, you know, this movie came out 100 years ago. In my time. I don't feel like doing the math for you guys. So, you know it's very different for me. I think they... Okay, here's a fact that I was actually surprised to hear. Sylvester Stallone was the one who wrote Rocky. Yes, please sleep some more. It's not a good idea to be asleep deprived. At all. I don't know why I'm using this skill, but regardless. So, you have this man who is very down on his luck. His boxing career hasn't been going anywhere. And he's having to collect for loan sharks. But overall his life is in the gutter. It's terrible. You appreciate that he didn't make himself into a macho cool guy. Yeah, that's the thing, he made himself a loser. He made himself a complete loser at first. He wasn't happy about it, he was very unhappy about it, he hated that he was a loser, he hated that he had to collect for loan sharks. All he could do was his best. At that point. That's all he could do. But then something impossible happened. Someone approached him, well, not so much as approach, but yeah, I guess you could say like not invited. What's the word I'm looking for? Gave him a chance, someone gave him an absolute sweetheart deal. Just kind of at random. It could have been anyone. But Apollo Creed chose him. And he really worked for it, he really worked. Just to, you know, be able to fight this guy and fight him well. That was the ultimate goal of it all. I mean, sure, the guy that he was fighting, Apollo Creed, was You know, the heavyweight champion, he is the top guy in the entire shocking place. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, he's probably not going to be able to beat him. So, what's the next best thing? What's the next best thing you could do there? If you can't beat him. What you do after that is, you just have to get through the entire fight, push him to the absolute limit. Yes. Apollo went in there thinking, oh, this is only going to take like what? 1 or 2 rounds, maybe even 3. This is going to be so easy, you guys. But then Rocky took it seriously. He took it so seriously. Like, oh my god. So if I recall, it was 15 rounds. It was 15 rounds of Rocky versus Apollo. And God, that was amazing to watch. And this is not even me commenting on the relationship that Rocky ended up in. Like, I am specifically keeping that out right now, because that's something else entirely that is worth discussing. I'm not sure I'm really explaining myself well there, but I hope you guys get what I mean. So, "15 rounds. Is 3 minutes each, and both of them are just going beyond their limits. Apollo did win in the end. Officially he did win. But that was I'm going to just work with it. Anyway, so Apollo did win in the end, but really the fact that Rocky was able to get to the 15th round, last to the entire round, and make it out, beaten up. But yes, Apollo won the war, but he lost the battle. After that fight, Rocky kind of just became this absolute sweetheart in the eyes of the public. Like, they loved him so much that it was actually getting to Apollo. But that's leading into the second movie. Let's just focus on the first movie. So I want to comment on the relationship because I think it's actually something very important to talk about. So what's the typical love interest in these movies? Does anyone know? Like in these Hollywood action movies or whatever. What is the typical love interest? Anyone know? Come on. Yes. I mean that is part of it. Okay, how do I put it? Usually, and this is just my own observations based on what I've seen. Usually it's like you know. I mean that does exist, but that's not like the common one. What I'm talking about is like you know the super attractive like supermodel with like long blonde hair and she's so beautiful and you know she has a very pretty face and that's honestly all she actually has going for her. But, you know so beautiful right? Rocky doesn't do that. What Rocky does is they have him date a normal woman. Someone who's just very normal, who's smarter than him, that's for sure. And that's it. Yes, he is absolutely a personality guy, and that's another thing. Adrian was shy. She was very shy. But that didn't bother him. And he managed to, you know, break through that like they managed to make it work. They're very, I'd say they are very supportive of each other. Even if Adrian sometimes in the series is like no don't do this or you know. But after Rock would fully explain himself. Or what have you, she would be like, okay, it's fine. But yeah, they just had him get with a very normal girl. And this is like as far as I know during a time when it's usually like the supermodel or something. I forgot to use the charisma, that's whatever. But oh god, there's so much to talk about with these movies. I think there's the most to talk about with the first one. Because this is the one that sets up the entire series. We got to talk about Mickey. Mickey is great. If you don't remember or if you don't know, Mickey is the guy who trained Rocky in the movie. And when she not she might I say she. God, I think my mind is on Adrian right now. Mickey when he first offered, you know, to train Rock. He wasn't. I guess I want to say he wasn't very receptive of it. I'm not sure if that's the right word. But it's the one I want to say because, you know, he wasn't. He was just like before. You wanted me out, you were throwing me out. But now suddenly, you're wanting to train me. And for what? For yourself. This is based on my memory. He was angry and disappointed in him, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, still gave him a chance at the end of the day. Now what else is worth talking about? I guess Polly. It is not going to spell his name right, but we are just going to go with it. Yeah, Adrian's brother Polly was just an absolute jerk to both of them. And you know he was basically only trying to help Rock because he wanted something out of it too. And that sort of mentality persisted for a few movies. But ultimately, you know, he did kind of humble up. And he did wise enough as well. So, what else is worth talking about? No, he's not a bad guy. I mean, he's not like the nicest guy ever or anything. He is similar to Rock, yeah. I think I covered everything I want to cover in the movie. Actually, wait, one more thing, there's the training montage. Every movie has a training montage. In some way. He's someone at rock bottom with no real talent, yeah. But when was I saying? Right. Yeah. Rocky had those going for him, but Polly didn't have anything. Like, all he had going for him was the fact that he worked at a meat place. Wrong spelling, but more or less right. That's all he really had going for him. And of course he wasn't happy with his life either. That's one thing. Actually, you have a lot of people in these movies that just aren't happy with their lives. Oh yeah, Apollo Creed is great. He is a great character. All right. Yeah, he was a showman. He can absolutely fight though. Because you know he beat up Rock pretty bad. You like, and there was lasting consequences for that fight. The fact that he didn't take Rocky seriously cost him the 15 rounds. That's absolutely right. If he went in there like all with all his might, with the absolute intention of winning, and you're taking the fight seriously, he probably would have won by knockout. He most likely would have. Not is the wrong person. He most likely would have won by knockout. But because he decided to be a little cocky, he decides not really take the entire thing seriously. He ended up suffering. And people were just loving Rocky. They are loving that this underdog was going the distance. And we love that the underdog is going the distance. Like, a lot of people love underdog stories for reason. Because they show something that we all want to see. We want to see the little guy succeed. We love that kind of story. He's the one who asked Rocky to stop. He would have continued, yeah. So, with all that said, going into the second movie, this is where I'm going to have to, start spoiling some things and kind of have to work on my own here. So the second movie picks up right where the first left off. Rocky and Apollo were both being transported to the hospital after the fight. 'Cause both of them took a very big beating from each other. And Apollo was not happy. He was not happy about what happened. So Rocky was told that he shouldn't fight again because his eye was damaged because of the fight. So the doctors advised him to not continue fighting. But because of the money that he got because of the fight, he was able to marry Adrian. He was able to buy them. Was it an apartment or a house? I think it was an apartment. I think the house came later. He was able to do all these nice things for them. And of course eventually this led to Adrian getting pregnant. Rocky was trying to look for a normal job. A normal day job so he can continue to support himself and Adrian. Except things weren't really working out the way that he hoped. He was really hoping that people would hire him, and someone did hire. He was able to work at the meat place that Polly works at. Apollo is a sore loser, yes, but we will get to that. Able to work at that place, but at the same time, they did let him go pretty prematurely. Because they had to downsize on the staff. And Adrian was working at her old job, which Rocky wasn't happy about that. He didn't want that for her, and it's also unhealthy to do that when you're pregnant, as far as I know. You really shouldn't be doing strenuous work when you're pregnant. It's not good for the baby at all. So moving on to Apollo. He was absolutely a sore loser, and not only that, but he was getting a lot of hate mail. And a lot of people saying that Rocky was the one who won the fight, even though officially it was Apollo. It was absolutely Apollo who won the fight. But you know, some people didn't believe that and it started to get to him. So he was just like, alright, I'm going to fight him again. Yeah, they said it was rigged. And Apollo was very unhappy about that. And he was like, okay, to prove that it wasn't rigged, I'm going to have another fight with him, and this one is going to be for the championship belt. So what he did was he started to insult Rocky. He started to taunt him, to go to him into fighting again. And eventually Apollo did something to catch both Rocky's eye and Mickey's higher as well. I don't know why it's not getting the word right, but Paul was also unhappy because Rocky was the first person he couldn't knock out. That's right, in the first movie he was in utter disbelief that Rocky was able to get back up, that he was still going. Rocky, like I said at the start of this, he is just human determination personified. He was so determined to win, so determined to make it. Alright, so Rocky does eventually accept the challenge from Apollo. However, Adrian wasn't happy about it because she's ultimately concerned about Rocky's health. Like, she doesn't want him going blind in his right eye, because that could possibly happen if he fought again. She just doesn't want that to happen. She's looking out for him, that's the important part. And because Rocky knew that he disappointed his wife, it was weighing on him. He couldn't think straight, it was just awful. His heart wasn't in it, when it really should have been. Like, at that point, if John Wick is a man of focus and sheer shocking will, then Rocky is focus and sheer shocking will. That's absolutely right. So all of this was weighing on Rocky. And Adrian unfortunately gave birth a bit early in. And you know, she's been working so much that it was really stressing her out, and you know, it eventually led to her going into a coma. So Rocky was you know, he just didn't have the motivation anymore because his wife was in the hospital, she's in a coma, and they have no idea when she's going to wake up. So he just couldn't focus on training. Even though Mickey was trying to get him back into the training, he eventually relented, saying, okay, I understand, let's just wait for her to wake up. And the second movie really highlighted something that I don't think the first movie really highlighted, at least not as far as I remember. Rocky is either Christian or Catholic. I think he's Christian. From the second movie onward, as far as I remember, before every fight, he prays. For every fight, and sometimes he talks to the father of the church for blessings and such. So Rocky was just hoping, he was praying that Adrian would wake up. And he even refused to see his own son until Adrian woke up. In the first movie he prayed in the locker. Right, you're right, yeah. Eventually she did wake up, and they eventually did see that is the wrong person. They did see their son together. And she told Rocky when. Just win. So then you have another training montage, and I love the training montages. They are so good. I don't know how long they normally go. Maybe like 10 to 15 minutes, does that sound right? They know they normally go for like a little bit, So. Yeah, I've just been gushing over the Rocky movies so far. But then came the championship match. And it was just as tight as the first match in first movie. Like, oh my god. And it came super close in the end. They were both knocked onto the ground. And if Apollo got up, another 15 rounds. If Apollo got up, that means he won. And if neither of them got up, then by default the win would go to Apollo. But who got up? Who got up before the other guy? I'm pretty sure you guys know who it was. The Italian stallion himself. That's her, right. So when you actually look at it, it was ultimately Apollo. Okay, let me put it like this. If Apollo let everything be, then he would still be the champion. But because he let everything get to him. Because he wasn't really thinking straight, I think I can say that. Because he wasn't really thinking straight, he cost himself the title. He cost himself that title. Apollo just wanted to knock him out. And didn't happen, and for that, he lost the championship title. He could have won if he hadn't gone for the points, that's true. So, that leaves us with Rocky as the victor, as the new champion. And also led to one of the most iconic lines in the entire series. Yo, Adrian the First did it. That is such a good one. That's where the second movie ended. It was a very solid follow-up to the first. So then comes the third movie. There's a bit of a time skip. But if I recall, it's 3 years after the first movie. No, not the first movie, the second movie. The second movie was 10 months after the first movie. Roughly around 10 months. So Rocky is still the champion. He's been holding that title for 3 years. And you know Mickey was still training him. Yes, still helping him. And this new champion, not champion on this new fighter comes around. His name is, what was his name in the movie? His actor was Ice-T. But the character in the movie was Cleverly. No, damn it. Clever. Clubber. Lang. I'm just going to keep calling him Lying. Damn it. It text to speech, you piece of rust. I'm sorry, I love you. Anyway, so I'm just going to call him Ice-T. To his actor is whatever. So Ice-T is just this beast. Just as absolute beast. And you know Mickey didn't want Rocky to fight him. Because Mickey, you know, ultimately wanted to see Rocky's keep going. He wanted to see him still remain successful. But of course, Ice-T provoked him into fighting. And Rocky had to talk Mickey into letting him continue supporting him and stuff. To have Mickey still support him. And unfortunately, I wouldn't say this is all Rocky's fault. I say it's more Ice-T's fault. Because of Ice-T's actions, Mickey had a heart attack. And unfortunately passed away. Of course, in the confusion, no one really knew. But it was his fault. I think I can say that. You know who came back to help Rocky get back that title? It was Apollo. Apollo was like, no, we can't let this guy beat the champion. We can't let this guy have the title that we both earned. Can't allow that in. You know. Apollo wanted to teach Rocky a completely different method of fighting, his method of fighting. And you know that was all well and good, but Once again it was another situation of Rocky's heart just not being in it. And it confused and frustrated. Apollo it confused and frustrated Adrian as well. And she was grilling him for it. She was just like, what's wrong, why can't you do this? And Rocky plainly stated that for the first time in his life he was afraid. To kind of go back to the fight with Ice-T where Rocky lost, Ice-T demolished him. Like, absolutely destroyed him. He was a knockout at the second round. So, Rocky was afraid. Because of what Ice-T did. And it took Adrian her support. For Rocky to be able to get his mind in the game, to get his heart into it. And then we have another classic Rocky montage. Fight. Damn it, then comes the fight. Rocky versus Ice-T. And you know Rocky is fighting like Apollo now. Fighting completely like him, which is throwing Ice-T off. Because Ice-T is all about physical strength, he's all about being a monster. He can't really keep up all that well against someone who's nimble. Someone who's quick. Much like how what Apollo was very nimble and quick, and Rocky did have kind of a hard time keeping up with Apollo. And through the fight Rocky kind of realized that he might be able to end this fast. Because Ice-T puts his all in these fights. He puts his all. Within the first few rounds Rocky kind of realized that he doesn't have stamina. He doesn't know how to last for 15 rounds. And not only that, Ice-T is very prone to anger. So he realized that if I can make him tired, if I can make him so angry that he is no longer thinking straight, then I'll be able to win. And once again, yes, it comes down to endurance. If Rocky has anything going for him, it's endurance. He can endure so much punishment. It's just crazy. Oh, are we changing over too? Okay, we're doing those now, so I guess I'm not leveling too much anymore. Okay. So Rocky got the champion title back. However, Apollo's help wasn't unconditional. He did want something out of it. And he wouldn't tell Rocky what he wanted. Do the rank UPS, yeah, I can do those. The notifications hurt your eyes, I am so sorry. I am not good. That's my excuse, I'm not good. Let me use the rest of my experience cards on someone before I continue. How could Rocky not know Apollo was going to ask for a rematch? That's what I was going to get to. Yeah. Apollo's condition 4. You know, training Rocky. Was that he would do. I'm blanking on the word right now. Yeah, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. Soup. He's at soup. Yeah, okay, so I have to find which one I have. Some of these are kind of experimental. I tried to remember which one was the one that I use for the challenge quests. I think it might have just been this one. I can just switch out the character. I think I can do that. I don't know why special class is on. Might be better. No, this is good. I think this is I can just use Da Vinci. That is true because Da Vinci can hit everything. That's the wrong button. I love that. Oh God. You misled me. Not you, God, that you portrait. You misled me. Then again, we couldn't have known this would happen. Anyway, so Apollo. Wanted a rematch, but not like a televised one, not for the championship belt. And no like cameraman, no TV or anything. Just those two guys in the ring. Don't worry about it. Don't it, it's fine, we can get through it, it's not a big issue. It does mean I can just unload everything in the first round, doesn't it? I mean near everything, I suppose. No, I should just do everything. Okay. Yeah, they took a page out of their book. That is absolutely right. The Coral Majima strikes again. So what was I saying, right? It was just a rematch between those two. It was just just for Apollo to prove himself to himself. Did I say this would be fine? It might actually not be fine. I'm just going to withdraw because this is probably going to take a while. So that's where the third movie ended. It ended with them, you know, having their rematch. It didn't show the full rematch, but that's how I ended. Okay, do I have any one single target that I can use? I do have Age Tora. I use the, well, I guess I could get away with that. Actually. Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking she would be much better. Anyway, so. Continuing on. Where was I? All right, moving on to the fourth movie. Russia. Is throwing their hat into the sports ring worldwide. Yeah, deciding, hey, you know what, we're going to be cool and we're going to join you guys in sports. And here's our own boxer. This is Ivan Drago. I'm genuinely surprised that text-to-speech managed to get that name right. This is Ivan Drago, he is super cool, you know. I forget, does this apply anything? It applies in P again. I'm going to turn that on just to see how that works out. So it's sort of like a, not really a welcoming match, an exhibition match. Apollo pretty much begged for Rocky to let him take on Drago. Which, you know, Rocky was like, okay, whatever you say. Oh my god, I have so many buffs on her. The fight took place in America. And Apollo made an entire show of it. But what he wasn't expecting was how serious Driver was. Are you kidding me? I'll just call him Ivan. He did not account for how serious Ivan would be. Plus, is getting up there. Apollo was getting up there in the years. So he wasn't as strong as he was when he first fought Rocky. This was like, it was a long time after the first movie, it was a long time after that. So Apollo wasn't in his best form and Ivan was not messing around. Which ultimately ended up costing Apollo his life. Apollo died because of the fight against Ivan. And of course Ivan didn't care. He was just like, well, if he dies, he dies. I don't know, he's not really anything we can do about it. I'm starting to realize that maybe unloading everything in the first round is a bad idea. But at that time, it was very obvious what Rocky was thinking. He was just thinking, I need to beat this guy. He killed my friend. He was absolutely willing to. She was absolutely willing to kick the rust out of Ivan. And this was the only time that Adrian just couldn't understand why. She just couldn't understand why Rocky wanted this. And personally, if you ask me, it's pretty obvious why Rocky wanted to do this. Now, I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that the fourth movie has the least amount of dialogue in all of the movies. And vengeance is a hell of a motivator, that's right. So the fight was taking place in Russia, is taking place there, and Rocky just wanted to be somewhere isolated from basically everything. Like he wanted to complete total isolation from it all. That's right, if it wasn't for Apollo, Rocky would still be a nobody. It was because Apollo gave him that chance, gave him his shot, that Rocky was able to become the legend that he is today. Yeah, he absolutely owes it to the man. So, pretty much half of the movie was training. Half of the entire movie was just a massive training montage. Rocky climbed a mountain. He climbed a mountain all by himself. Okay, I don't know what to use here, so I'm just going to continue until you guys say something. Rocky was just training the hardest he ever had, just to fight Ivan. Then the fight game. The fight came. It was, you know, the standard format. It was 15 rounds. Win by knockout, you know, all that stuff, and there's points and what have you. So, Ivan you know, he was going in there assured he would be Rocky easily. Boy, was he wrong. Do the Da Vinci loop. Okay. Where is soup? There it is. Da Vinci, get back to me. So, they were sure that you know, Ivan would be Rocky within like the first 1 to 3 rounds. But no. And over the course of the fight, Ivan started getting scared. He started saying that Rocky isn't human. Listening at the gym in the middle of your own training montage, that's what it's about, listening to some dumb VTuber go on about a movie series that she saw. But fight went on. And by God, if I had to pick, yeah, he is definitely not human. Like the amount of punches that he's taken, he's not human at this point. You mean he's the shocking man? I know I'm teaching future lingo to people in the past. Oh, come on. Why is there another one? No, I don't want there to be another one. Okay, so continuing. It was a very tense fight. Like I was. On the edge of my seat the entire time. And you know when Rocky first went into that stadium, you know the entire audience was rushing in. They hated him. They hated the fact that he was there, or you know, just usual sports fan stuff. They absolutely hated him. And over the course of the fight, that started to change. They started to like him. They started to like him more and more and more. Until the entire stadium was chanting his name. And of course you know you had Russian officials there. And you know they're like, oh my god, how could this happen, how could they do this or whatever. And you know blaming Ivan for all of this, like you are a failure and all of that. To which Ivan grabs the official who said that like right in his face by the neck. And said, I don't fight for you. Don't know why I used quick cards, but whatever. So it was the final round. And Ivan was pretty much accepting of whatever was going to happen. He was just like, alright, let's finish it. And of course in the end Rocky was the winner. Because come on. He's just a beast. So Rocky gave an entire speech at the stadium. He was saying that, you know, when he walked in there, he's just feel different, yeah. When he walked in there were a bunch of people, entire crowd that didn't like him, and he wasn't sure if he liked them either. But that changed as everything went on. They started to like him, and he started to like them as well. So if he can change, if they can change, then everyone can change. That's another iconic line in the series that is such a good one too. Overall that was just pure Rocky. That was pure condensed Rocky put into a movie. That's how I explained that one, it's just pure rock. And keep in mind, all these movies are written by Sylvester Stallone. For better and for worse, and we are going to go into the for worse part with Rocky 5. Okay. I'm going to preface this with, I don't think Rocky 5 is bad. I do think there are likable things about it. I do think it's the weakest out of all of the Rocky movies. But that's also like saying that, you know. What's a good metaphor for this? I'm really trying to think of a good way to put this. Let's just not coming to me. Yeah, it's like JoJo Part 1. Though personally I would rate it a bit lower than JoJo Part 1, but it's still like it's solid. Okay, it's solid. It does have some moments that are not as great, but you know, overall. So Rocky 5. It takes place right after Rocky 4, and Rocky was having issues going home. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He was having actual physical issues. And as soon as he got home, there's this weird business guy who's just like, hey, you see this guy right here? You're going to make so much money fighting this guy and this and that, and Adrian was just like, no, he's done. He's not fighting anymore. He needs to see a doctor. She didn't say that in public, but she did say that to Rock that he needs to see a doctor. Which he absolutely did. Because he took some serious brain damage from the fight with Ivan. And if he continues to fight, then it might lead to some very irreversible damage. This is going on for 11 turns, oh my god. So Rocky agreed. Even if he had a hard time really leaving it all behind, he agreed at the end of the day that he shouldn't fight anymore. So what do you mean only 11? Are you telling me people have gone on for longer? I mean, I believe it. Okay, I might be able to. Just look, it'll end at 15. Okay, if it does. Okay. Let's make a bet, all right. If it does. If it does go to 15 turns or even over, let's say, then you get a cookie emoji. Okay, no cookie emoji for you. Just as I was sipping water. So I'm just going to assume all of these are going to end up with me having to fight a unicorn. Or not a unicorn, a bicorn. Anywhere so. Not what I said, but whatever. So Rocky started running Mickey's gym again. And this kid shows up. Tommy Gunn. I know that's what Texas speech said, that's actually his name. His name is Tommy Gunn. So, maybe it would be better if I use my Buster team. Let me actually look at my Buster team. Wouldn't it be better if I use this? I have, let's see. I could use. No, that's the wrong class. There we go, I could use this. I'm not sure how useful Hans will be here. I could, I guess, replace him with. Yes, I do have kaleidoscope, it's right here. So continuing. This kid shows up. Oh, I can just use her, got it. It's probably not going to be as powerful, but whatever. You have to remember. I'm going to have to remember how to use this team. So I'm just going to keep talking to distract you guys from my terrible gameplay. So Tommy was. We're going. We're going. Wait a second, why am I? I'm supposed to have Merlin here, not. I'm supposed to have Merlin, wait. Oh, I forgot to switch them, I forgot to do that. Okay, whatever, okay, no more distractions. So, when I was saying before was, right, his kid shows up. And he impresses Rocky. And Rocky starts training him. She does have charisma, that's true. She starts not, she starts. Training the kid, and yeah, they're winning a lot, and there's this, there's that. Polly, he's been here the entire time. I'm not like actively trying to ignore him. But which one was the one that I wanted to use again? I don't really need it right now. I could use this one. Because it increases the gather rate. Yeah, okay. I'm remembering now, it's the brain is working. So anyway. The unfortunate thing about the kid is that he's not really picking up Rocky's heart, He's not really picking up what really matters. Which is, ultimately, The most important part. Oh hello Gilgamesh, when did you get here? I have a dumb idea right here. That'll totally work. And hey. Hey, would you like some more noble phantasm? Okay, so. The kid did not pick up the actual important thing. It just dropped everything on her, that's true. That's true. And more stuff to use. I hope that doesn't. There we go, this is better. Time to destroy. I should have targeted the shadow servants. It's very fitting that I'm getting distracted when I'm trying to talk about Rocky 5. Life is. It not life. Rocky 5 is. Interesting to talk about. Oh hey, I have the noble phantasm up again. What if I do this? What if I save it to the end? I'm going to do that. Have an entire. Just. Destroy them. Oh my god, yes. So. So the kid. You know, it starts going for money and all that. He doesn't really care, and you know he basically fired Rocky. More or less. So. Oh hey, there's another one. No, he doesn't even thank Rocky for everything that he's done for him. And you know, everyone hated that. Even the audience hated that. And no one would officially recognize him. I mean, he is officially the champion. But no one really recognized him as the champion. So he tried challenging Rocky. And your Rocky was just like, no, I'm not doing that. Until he started hitting Polly. In which case Rocky was like, okay, we'll hear you, little piece of rust. And the movie ended. With the fight being a street fight instead of it being a boxing match. There is an entire sub-block with Rocky's son. But it really just boils down to Rocky not really paying attention to his kid. And that's generally all I have to say about Rocky 5. It's, like I said, not the best in the series. Is there any rank up quest one should do specifically? We'll wait for you to answer while I continue on with the final movie in the series, Rocky Balboa. So this one I just watched last night, and I thought it was a very nice way to cap off everything too. Finally give some closure. 2. The entire series. You know, until Creed came around, but I haven't seen those, so I won't really comment on them. Both of them okay. I'm going to do Alter first because she is a DPS and I could really use them. Now. What team should I use for this? I'm just going to pick a servant and just go from there, see which team I actually want to use. I'm very surprised that using her with this team actually worked out. Anyway, so the final movie was in 2006, and you know, a lot has changed. I can use that is true, I can use Da Vinci here. Adrian passed away. And passed away. Between the 5th movie and the final movie. And you know, Rocky hasn't really fully gotten over it yet. He's still, you know, grappling with his feelings about the entire thing. He's no longer fighting, he's no longer training. And he's running a restaurant now named after his wife. And yeah, the restaurant is actually fairly popular, it's been doing fairly well. And his son has really just been trying to make a name for himself. He just doesn't want people to see him as, you know, Rocky Jr. So that's just something that his son has really had to deal with as well, just trying to strike out on his own when everyone else just wants to keep comparing him to his dad. I don't know what I'm doing here, I'm just going to let it happen. So that's ultimately where it is. Where, you know, everything starts. So this new champion, his name is Mason Dixon. You know, he's the current heavyweight champion, but a lot of people, for some reason, are blaming him for the decline in the sport. Not only in like competitors, but in like popularity too. And then someone they just didn't like a simulated fight between Mason Dixon and Rocky Balboa. What the hell is that? I'm going to continue anyway, so you have it. Yeah, that is totally a bird. Yep, absolutely bird. It's a bird if I've ever seen one. So you have Mason Dixon, who is trying to prove that you know, he's super cool and would ever try to prove that. You know he wouldn't lose in a fight to a wash it up has been. Other words. I love that you're giving me a critical down when this isn't a critical based team anyway, so. I should probably wait one more turn or two before I actually use anything. Alright anyway. So. They do set up another fight to happen. And your Rocky of course accepts it. And his son is not pleased about it at all. And you know one day he was just complaining to Rock, you know what it's like having to be his son and whatever. In your Rocky said you know why. You know I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said why should you care what the others think? The only one who matters here, the only person, you know, that matters in this moment is you. What you think of yourself matters more than what other people think of you. Again I'm paraphrasing, he was kind of late at night and I was kind of trying to stay awake, you know. But yeah, that was something that happened in that movie. So, his son quit his job and just said, I'm going to help you train. So then we get on to the actual fight. And I'm going to be very honest, it was kind of a repeat of, you know, the fights with Apollo. And Rocky didn't win in the end. But at the same time, he managed to finally find closure. You know, with everything that's happened. Using Da Vinci is not going to be a good idea here. But yeah, he finally found closure. And that's where the series ends. I very much enjoyed going through the entire series. And if you guys haven't gone through the Rocky movies before, yeah, that's until Creed, but I haven't seen those movies and I'm considering them something separate for now at least. But, yeah. It's a very good series, one recommend that everyone watches it. And I do mean everyone. It's very inspiring series. To just watch this guy, you know, claw his way up from rock bottom. It's like, have anyone played Yakuza Like a Dragon? It's like the main character of that. Except, you know, At Rocky didn't play Dragon Quest when he was a kid. Alright, there is one more movie I want to talk about today. Before we go ahead and close the things out. And that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry, Across the Spider-Verse. You haven't gotten past chapter 4 and I'm not going to say anything. I actually haven't really finished Like a Dragon myself. So you're good. You're not going to hear anything. So, I want to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Because I've been sitting on it for a while and I've kind of wanted to talk about it, but I just couldn't really figure out when. That is until I started watching the Rocky movies and I thought, hey, I want to talk about these, so might as well. So I'm going to set some ground rules. I am not going to be comparing anything to the comics. Except one point. But I think it's a very important point. Where comparing it to the comics is very necessary. But outside of that I won't be comparing it to the comics at all. So we are going to be looking at this as its own series, yeah, because it's the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. And we're going to be nothing is the word. Trying to think of the word. I don't know where it got nothing from. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a great movie. I watched it when? How old was I when I saw it? Keep in mind this is like many years into the future. I think I was 18. I might have been 18 when I first saw it. I don't know, point is, it's a very good movie. And it uses the same morals that Spider-Man always had, I guess you could say. But it kind of, I guess. I want to say recontextualizes them, but I don't feel like that's right to say. I think it's more right to say that it introduces them to a new audience. I think that's something that's worth appreciating. That said, Across the Spider-Verse, in some ways, I like it more than the first movie. But in other ways I like it less than the first movie. And it's kind of an even split between those. So I want to go over what I like first. So that way, it's not all me criticizing the movie or anything. So animation is amazing. The animation of the movie is very good. And they give Almost every character their own unique aesthetic. So, no two characters unless they like come from the same universe, have the same aesthetic. So, it makes everyone look very unique. And you know, because there's just a lot of spider people in the movie. Yeah. You got to make the most stand out somehow. Using the spot was a very interesting choice for the villain. And I'm going to be honest. I actually like what they did with the spot. He's very much nothing villain. But they took him and made him actually pretty interesting and actually becomes threatening. Like when you first see him in the movie, he's just doing petty crime, he's just stealing from an ATM. And you know Miles comes in and fights him. He's not really taking it seriously. Which white should you? He's kind of a joke. But the spot started getting frustrated. He was like, take me seriously, I won't just be another villain of the week. I am not just another villain of the week. And I'm going to prove it. So after the fight was over, and after he I guess fell into a portal. And ended up somewhere else. Yeah, way out of Spider-Man's reach. He started powering himself up. He started making himself stronger and stronger, amplifying his abilities to basically bend reality. That's what he does, immoral us. So, he's doing that while Miles is feeling lonely. He wants to see his friends from the first movie again. And the spot becomes super threatening, he is so threatening that he becomes 2D. That's how threatening he is. So with all that said, I wonder some other things that I liked from the movie. I did like the little cameo from the Spider-Man from the PlayStation game. That was very nice. He became a VTuber, that's what happened to you, he has transcended mortal limits. I don't know why I said why text-to-speech said that. The spot became a YouTuber. So, what else did I like about the movie? I do like everything surrounding Miles. If that makes sense, I like Miles as a character in these movies. I think he is a very good character in the movies. I don't know where it got Kirby from. Peter B. Him being a dad. I don't know why that just puts a smile on my face. There's also. See, I'm just trying to think of everything, but it has been a minute since I've actually seen the movie. It's also just a lot easier to remember the negative stuff. Yeah, that's absolutely what he deserves. So, I'm just trying to think. Because I don't want to just, jump into all the negative stuff that I feel towards the movie. About all I can think of. That's about all I can think of right now. Yeah, oh, what's her name? Her name is Mayday. She's adorable. Oh god, okay, like I said, we are not talking about the comics. I know that's a comic thing, I don't know much about it. But, yeah. So. Now I'm going to go on to the negatives, which is. You've grown to dislike multiverses. Okay. They can be done right. They can absolutely be done right. If the story is built around it from the get-go. And you can kind of give them some leeway as well. Because there's so many different universes of Spider-Man. That having team-ups is very fun to do. Faith is an example of multiverses, that's right. I said Fate. So. Now here comes the stuff that I don't like from the movie, which is two things really. Everything that has to do with Miguel O'Hara. And the ending. And this is the point where I have to bring something up from the comics. Like I absolutely have to. Now I go into preface all of this by saying this. I technically grew up with Spider-Man. I watched all the old material before seeing the new stuff. So my exposure to Spider-Man was the 1990s TV series and the 2002 movie. Again, we are not going to be looking at the comics except for one specific thing. One very specific thing. Which I'm about to get to, but I have to preface all of this with the fact that I did grow up watching Spider-Man stuff. And we all know the motto for Spider-Man. Even if you're not a fan of Spider-Man or Marvel. Exactly. That is exactly it. With great power comes great responsibility. Everyone knows this, even if you're not a fan of Spider-Man. We all know it. And that's exactly the point I wanted to make. So, Miguel O'Hara is The brooding Spider-Man. Which you know. They got 2 of those. They also got the Scarlet Spider. Though to be fair, he's more of the edgy Spider-Man than the brooding Spider-Man. So, Miguel is. He's a bit jaded. And by a bit I mean he's very jaded. And he kind of messed around in the multiverse a little because he found a universe where he had a family and he was happy. But in that universe he died, so he said, okay, I'm going to replace myself in that universe and continue living and be happy with that family. Except because he had tried to basically reverse something that is irreversible. The entire universe started to collapse and did collapse. Now, I'm going to say that this is not the first time anything has really played around with the idea of having irreversible points in time. Like I can't remember any. Examples off the top of my head, but there are some series out there that you know do with different universes and time travel and stuff. Where, no matter what you do, this point Steins Gate, yes, that's what I was thinking of, Steins Gate. So this is not an entirely new concept in, if you were to look at the canon events as irreversible points in time. And if you were to look at it as like events that have already passed, and not events that are yet to come, then that's a bit more solid. That's a bit more solid to call them canon events. Doctor Who did have that too, that's right. So, in short, Miguel caused the collapse of another universe because he was living in it when he just didn't belong. So, he became, you know, the brooding Spider-Man, and he was just like, okay, we're going to call these canon events, we can't reverse them even if they haven't happened yet, and we can't reverse them as they happen. Which kind of just sounds like, I suffered, so therefore everyone else should suffer. Of this is. All this is important because this does lead back into Miles. Because of all the stuff that the Spot did, him and Miles got a glimpse into the future, where Miles is bad. Miles' dad dies saving a kid from a collapsed building. That was collapsing because of the fight between Miles and the Spot. Now naturally, Miles wants to prevent this. He wants to, you know, try and prevent his dad from dying. That is a perfectly understandable thing to want to do. But Miguel was like, no. No, your dad is going to die. And you're going to sit here. You're going to let it happen. Right here, right now. It's going to be happening in 3 days and we're not going to let you see him again. Sound fair? Does that sound fair to you guys? Now I understand that. The movie is trying to make Miguel's bad guy. They're trying to make him the bad guy, and while they're doing a pretty good job of it, but not for the right reasons in my opinion. Because when you actually take a look at it, we don't actually see the consequences of canon events and trying to disrupt them. You could argue yes we did, because Miles saved that one guy's dad, or that one girl's dad. And you know, this big wormhole that popped up, but this was also in a universe that the Spot was messing around in. So it's entirely possible that it's the Spot's fault that's happening, and not because Miles wanted to help someone. So we're not really clear on the consequences of the disruption of canon events. But at the same time, Miguel is assuring us that there are consequences, and if it's disrupted too many times and too many universes, then everything will break apart. Everything will just break and be destroyed. But we can't really take his word for it, because he was messing around in another universe too. There is one more point about the canon events that Mordred brought up, but I'm saving that for last. Does anyone here know what Schrodinger's cat is? Does anyone know what that is? Well, I'm going to explain it anyway, so it's a rhetorical question. Schrodinger's cat is more or less a thought experiment. So you got a box. You have some kind of deadly substance in the box, let's say. Let's say it's something radioactive. So you put the cat in the box, you close it. And I don't know, you set it off to the side or something. And you what time pass? You don't know if the cat is perfectly fine or if the cat is dead until you open that box. That is what Schrodinger's cat is. So, with that said, how is this a Schrodinger's cat? Well, we don't actually know. The real consequences of trying to overturn a canon event. And it seems like we can overturn a canon event at least before it even happens. So, Miguel trying to stop Miles from saving his dad is very misguided, because he is trying to work with an absolute that doesn't really have enough evidence to really cement it as an absolute. And then, you can't say Miles is in the wrong as well, even if okay, let's say Miguel is right in. The canon events, trying to change them will cause universes to collapse. Then, you don't have the right to try and stop the kid. You do not have the right to try and force Miles to not save his dad. You just don't. You can't just tell someone that their dad is going to die and when it's going to happen and then just tell them, hey, you know it sucks, but hey, don't do anything, just sit on that stool right there and go to your timeout corner. And don't even think about it. When we don't actually know if Miles trying to save his dad will cause a universal collapse. So ultimately we don't know what the outcome will be of that situation until it happens. And it won't happen until the third movie. Because the movie ended on a genuinely terrible cliffhanger. Now cliffhangers can be done right. Probably. But I personally say that Across the Spider-Verse is a cliffhanger done very wrong. Because it was still introducing new elements to the entire story. And you know, ramping things up more and more and more. And then just cutting it off. Yeah, that is not a good way to end your movie. They should have done what the Dragon Ball Z Broly Super Saiyan movie did and show the destruction of the universe at the beginning. See that? Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I think that might actually work. So like I said, my feelings on the movie are rather 50-50. I do like it. Like, I don't hate it, I dislike those things in it. But I don't, hate it. Right before I forget. The final point I want to make about the canon events. Mordred already said it, but I want to elaborate on it. In the very first story Spider-Man has ever been in, it was an issue of Amazing Fantasy. I know this because I looked it up because I'm a nerd. And this is a point that's used a lot in like the movies and that stuff. Uncle Ben dying. Now, the reason why Uncle Ben died. Peter was performing as a wrestler. He didn't immediately become a superhero. And he was being, bitter. He was being whatever. He wasn't exactly being a great guy. And a robber. Was running away with some money and Peter didn't stop him. And because he didn't stop him, that robber killed Uncle Ben. And Peter chased down the robber not knowing it was him, only to then learn it was him. And he realized that if he had stopped that guy, then Uncle Ben would still be alive. And that was great power. Comes great responsibility. What the canon events are trying to imply is that it didn't matter. That no matter what he did, that no matter what Uncle Ben was destined to die. There was nothing that could have been done. I'm sorry, kid. But that also goes against the entire point. Because the point is that something could have been done. In that. Peter not acting. To stop that robber to do something good. Led to his uncle died. The point is that. His choice. His choice. 2. Remain idle to let what happened happened. Confident. It cost him. So that's why I dislike the canon event thing, and you could say like well, it was going to happen regardless because that's what was printed on the page, but that's true, but that's still not really the point. Okay, that was the only time I was going to bring up the comics. It's pretty heavy right now, isn't it? So with all that said, I think I am going to close things out here. I know that's kind of like a dollar note too. Doubt what? No, I said dower. Whatever. I know that's not the best note to end on, but I mean, I've talked about everything I've wanted to talk about today. I mean, unless you guys have any other movies that you want to talk about. I mean, I'd be willing to talk about those as well, but yeah. You don't have to like force yourself or anything, I'm just insane. You don't have any other movies to talk about, that's fine, yeah. I know a lot of people aren't really movie people. I'd say. For some part 1 am. And I recommend I watch 12 Angry Men. What is that? Hold on, I don't know what that is. Is that a joke? Actually is real, that's from 57, that is over 100 years ago. I want to see what this is about. Oh, it's a courtroom drama, okay. This sounds interesting. I might check it out at some point, yeah. All right. But with all that said, please don't crucify me. Please don't kill me, please don't do anything to me, I am just expressing my own opinions. I really should have said that at the start. I just feel like that, oh my god. Anyway, I'm going to be closing things out here. So, Get your recommend the Christopher Reeves Superman movie. I actually don't know what those are. Oh. Oh, that was 78 right. It was the first Superman movies. Okay. Okay, I might check them out some there. Alright, but with all that said and hopefully no more interruptions. Thanks for stopping by everyone and dealing with my rambling. And as always, stay foxy. Okay. Alright, goodbye more Jordan, goodbye Free, and goodbye to Paul as well. I know he was here. I might get your name right